Hello, welcome back. Tactical Tuesday with Johnny Tiger. The date is November 12th, 2024. Today we're going to talk a little bit about Wing Chun because Wing Chun has been on sort of having some spotlight shone on it ever since the Ip Man series, and a lot of people have suddenly think that Wing Chun is a be all and solve all secret Chinese martial art, Chinese version of Krav Maga, or the ultimate martial art for street fighting, and so on and so on and so on. And then there's just as big, if not more, people that will say it's all bullshit. Right? Wing Chun is all bullshit. It just looks good on TV, and you can't get this to work. Why? Because you never see Wing Chun being used in uh, the MMA or UFC or stuff like that. So if it's not used in UFC, it's obviously bullshit. So today I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a fact about Wing Chun, and more specifically, the most noticeable, the most popular uh, Wing Chun move of all time, which is the Wing Chun chain punch. Now, let me preface this by saying that I'm by no means anywhere close to being a Wing Chun master. I have limited exposure to Wing Chun because we did try to add a little bit of Wing Chun in our Krav Maga curriculum to liven things up a little bit, and just to add a different kind of style into our curriculum. Uh, and I have researched and read and experimented enough with Wing Chun techniques to know what it's about and to know what I'm looking at. One of the advantages of having kicked around in the martial arts circle and have practiced various forms of martial art for over 30 years is that you don't really need to study anything from beginning to end. As long as you get enough of an understanding at the basic level, you kind of know what works and what don't work. You have a pretty good idea of how things work. Honestly, fighting is not that complicated. A lot of time, especially in a street fight, it comes down to who hit harder, who can take more hits, or who runs faster, and so on, or who carries a weapon. Most of the uh, techniques, most of the complicated stuff, it's there for show. It's there for so instructors can get paid. Uh, I hate to put it this way, but honestly, a lot of the stuff that you learn, I learned in martial art, in self-defense, it's not that useful in a fight. Most of it is uh, stuffers. Most of it is fillers. There, so you have something to work on. There's so I get paid as an instructor, and there, so maybe you get fit and get some exercise while you're working on it. So is Wing Chun total bullshit, or is it actually good? Well, let's look at the chain punch. First, let me show you guys the basics of how it's done. It's not just swinging your arm wildly again and again like a lot of people tend to think. Okay, that's not Wing Chun. That's called Wang Ba Qian. In Mandarin, Wang Ba Qian means turtle fist. Means when you just swing wildly and repeatedly, that's called a Wang Ba Qian. That means that called a turtle fist. It's not Wing Chun. Okay, Wing Chun chain punch is very specifically 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, and the range of your arms movement It's very small. Okay, so it's not big swing, left, right, like a big power shot, not like that. If anything, if you look at the arc of my fist, your fist should travel about a foot. Okay? There's very little movement from the elbow. A lot of the movement comes from the shoulder. Because when you throw a punch from the chain punch position, you are rotating. So you rather than pulling your fist back and go forward, rather than traveling in a straight line back and forward, you're rolling your shoulder. So your punch connect, you roll your shoulder, your fist travel in a wheel, like a wheel, okay, like you're cranking a wheel. So if you look at my one hand, it will be like turn, 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 turn. So there's a circular motion to your chain punch, right? And your elbow basically stays down all the time. Okay, your elbow don't come out to the side. Your elbow stay down by your rib cage, and most of this punch come from your shoulder, right? The reason why your elbow stay down, of course, is to protect your rib cage. If you flail wildly like this, elbow up like this, never mind chain punching. You hit the person a few times, they are going to nail you right in the rib cage. Okay? If you keep your elbow down, there's less of a chance you get punched in the gut or punched in the rib cage. Anyone who do MMA or boxing know that. And it's the same in chain punching in Wing Chun. Now, of course, the difference with chain punching in Wing Chun is you don't just hit once. You don't just hit 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't just hit 1, 2, 3. Okay? You go in, right? It's very quick, repeated punching, but still left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Right? It's not like, right? It's not like one-handed or anything like that. So let's look at the pros and cons of chain punch. The pros of chain punch is it's very intimidating, right? Especially in a self-defense scenario. Because it's a lot of moving fist coming right at your face and chest. And if it's delivered with intention behind it, obviously if I just stand here, that's not going to really scare the person, right? It's going to be mostly just piss them off, right? But if when I start the fight, I rush in, go right into that, it's very intimidating. And it's a great thing, it's a great technique to make the person go where you want them to go. Okay? One thing I hear a lot about Wingchung, a lot of people that say, talk down about chain punch, is that you can't deliver meaningful hits with that. It doesn't hurt that much. And that is true to a certain degree. Although, if you do it right, there's going to be some really hard hits in there. Because when I am when I'm chain punching, yes, maybe the first 1, 2, 3, 4 is not going to be very hard. But I'm always building up to that very hard one right in the throat, right? So, number one advantage of chain punching is intimidation. If you're in a fight and let's say you know there's a table over there behind the person. Let's say you're in a bar fight. And you know there's a table behind the person. And if you can make them move back, then they might trip over that table and be out of your face. then a Wing Chun chin punch is a great way to make the person do that, because when someone is rushing at you and throwing the fist that fast, a lot of people will go like whoa 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 whoa, they're backpedaling, right? It takes a lot of mental discipline to stand your ground when someone's rushing at you and fist flying, right? So it's a great way to intimidate the person into going where you want them to go. So that's number one advantage of chin punching. Number two advantage of chin punching is the more you occupy the space between your face and their face with your own fist, the less chance they're going to hit you in the face, right? If I'm standing here, especially me being a blind person, fighting someone who's sighted, if I stand here with my guard up, okay, the person can have time to read me visually. So anytime I go to punch, they'll get me in the face, right? Or they'll wait until I move and then they'll throw that hook and get me on the side of the head. Why? Because they have time to think. They have time to use their eyes. They have time to sit back and regroup. But if when I fight a sighted person as a blind person, if I just move right in, there's no time for them to think. All they see is my fist coming at their head and chest and face again and again and again. In this case, it will put them on the defensive right away. They don't have time to try to hit me back. And even if they're trying to hit me back, my hands are moving in front of me, in between us. So if they try to hit me, there's a big chance they get my arm rather than my face. Okay, so that's the second advantage, is you occupy the space between you and you put the person on the defensive. Number three is deceiving. Right? A chain punch is deceiving in that we'll talk a little bit more about this, but it's deceiving because a lot of time when you keep throwing these punches, it lulls the person into thinking, oh, the dangers coming down the center line between my face and their face, because that's where a lot of fists are flying. Okay, so if I am a smart fighter, I can capitalize on that. I don't have to put a lot of effort into these punches because I know that as soon as they let their guard down and try to defend by putting their arm in the way, then I can change form, grab, pull, and break their arm, right? So it's a great setup for grabbing or sidestepping, kicking, elbow, all kind of stuff. Those are the advantages. Now, let's talk about the cons. What's bad about chin punching? Number one, if you fight someone who is very solid, if you fight someone who just don't scare easily, who's got very good mental discipline, you try to chain punch them, most likely will get your ass kicked. Because if you are rushing at me and chain punching and I am not intimidated, all I have to do is let you get close to get that chain punch in range, and then I go down, grab you, and down you go, right? All I have to do is duck under that. Or I just kick you in the leg, or kick you in the groin, right? So your brain, while you're busy intimidating the person, while you're busy trying to occupy that space, your own brain is being occupied as well, because you are thinking about swinging your arm. A lot of times, if the person is not intimidated, you are not going to see that counter hit coming, and that counter hit will put you down. So that's the con number one with chain punch. Is if you fight someone who's mentally disciplined and not intimidated, you are going to be in a world of hurt. And this is actually the major reason why you don't see Wing Chun working in any kind of sports fighting or stuff like that often, because most fighters have very good discipline. Most, especially boxers, especially MMA and Muay Thai fighters, they don't mind getting hit. So when you rush at them and go like this, they're like, what the hell are you doing? And they're going to do something in return that hurts 1,000 times more than those puny little punches you're throwing, right? But in a self-defense scenario, then you have a much higher chance of getting this to work, because most of the people, hopefully you don't make a habit of getting into street brawls with champion MMA fighters or Muay Thai fighters. Most of the people that you're going to encounter out there, they first not expecting you to do this. Second, they are probably not that comfortable getting punched in the face. So if you fight someone on the street, chances are you're going to Wing Chun punch. That's going to end the fight right there, because they have no idea how to deal with that. But yes, problem number one is not going to work if the person is very mentally disciplined. Problem number two is that it's easy to lose yourself in doing this. And I already mentioned that about 2 minutes ago. When you are swinging your arm like this, what I see a lot, yes, I'm blind, as I see, what I see a lot with people practicing the Wing Chun is they'll go like, right? They go like, they chain punch for like 30 seconds. Okay, I'm sure that's a great workout, but if you're doing that in a fight, you're doing your Wing Chun wrong. If you do that in a fight, you are going to get your ass kicked. Why? Because your brain is getting into that rhythm. You're not tricking your opponent, you're tricking yourself. Okay? Your brain is getting into that rhythm. So when suddenly a foot is coming at your groin, you can't react to it. You're so busy swinging your arm, you don't have time to react to anything. So that's the second problem. It's easy to lull yourself into that rhythm, and that is bad. Number three, the third problem with the Wing Chun chain punch is the energy output. I am very used to fighting. I've been doing martial arts for a long time, and I am in relatively good shape when it comes to martial arts and stuff like this. But even for me, doing this chain punch stuff, especially in a real fire scenario, not just standing here hitting the punching bag, I can do this for a long time. Right? I can do this for a long time. But in a real fire scenario, where the person is going to hit you back, where the person is moving, and you have to move, and you actually have to block, and then charge in, and move out, and move in, and move out, okay? It gets tiring, because you are moving a lot. It's like riding a bicycle with your arm. Rather than doing that, a boxer, on the other hand, We just move, 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 pow, move, 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 pow, pow, move, 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 pow, pow, pow. Okay, that's a lot easier than chin punching. It doesn't take nearly as much energy. So when you're chin punching, you do end up using a lot more energy in a real fight than uh, other form of fighting. Last but not least, and this is what I capitalize on all the time when I deal with people who want to use the Wing Chun against me, is when they are chin punching, they move in such a straight line, they don't change direction very good. Okay, they change direction good when it's them that's calling the shot. But if the person coming and is chin punching me and suddenly go to the side, they can't react to that. They're still thinking moving their arm. They don't change direction very good. Okay? Now, obviously, if you are a Wing Chun master, you've been doing this for 50 years, you may be really good at that. You may be really good at changing direction. But most people that do Wing Chun, especially the ones that are new or haven't clocked in a lot of fight time, they're just not that good at changing direction on the dime and dealing with lateral or flanking kind of maneuver. So now that we talked about the good and the bad, how would I use Wing Chun in fights? And I have successfully used my Wing Chun chin punch in many sparring sessions, but it's never uh, used as a knockout move. It's never used as a devastating move. It's always something to get the person to where I need them to go. Okay, that's the only time that I use the Wing Chun chin punch. A lot of time, I'll start the fight like I'm doing MMA. Okay, I'll do the 1-2, I'll do the roundhouse kick, and I'll do the knee strike. But if I need the person to do something that they are not obviously not going to want to do willingly, then I'm going to wait for that opening. So the person, let's say they come in and throw a big hook and I catch that on my arm, I am going to suddenly dart in, pow, 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 and then grab and knee strike, right? Because when I suddenly switch from MMA or boxing or Muay Thai style into this really quick Wing Chun chin punch, it takes them off balance. It makes them suddenly go, oh shit, what the hell is that? And that will allow me to suddenly shift back into grabbing and knee strike. Okay? In other words, the Wing Chun chin punch, when you do it right, it's a great distraction. It's a great way to maneuver them to go where you want them to go. But here's the thing. If you're going to a fight, especially a sports fight scenario or a sparring scenario, if you're going to a fight thinking, I'm going to walk in there and start chin punching, you are going to get your ass owned, right? Because there need to be an element of surprise. If you walk in there and you're already doing this, then you just expose yourself. You just announce your intention. And it's not going to be that surprising anymore. So the greatest way I personally have found to use the Wing Chun chin punch is to hold it back in reserve and use it when you get that opening. You go in there really quick a few times and then do what you need to do. But don't go into the fight thinking I am going to chin punch and win this fight, because that's not going to happen. Like I said, I'm by no means a Wing Chun master, but I hope this gives you guys a basic understanding of what Wing Chun is and what chin punch is and how to use that to your advantage. I'll be back again tomorrow. For now, have a good night.